Welcome to the Let's Talk Data podcast series presented by SAP, where we explore game-changing technology and strategies with leading experts with the goal of maximizing the value of data across your organization. If you haven't done so already, please follow or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite channel to stay tuned in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the SAP Let's Talk Data podcast, Journey to Intelligent Data Applications, Modernize with SAP HANA Cloud. My name is Daniel Dukes from SAP Product and Solution Marketing, and I will be the host for today's podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by Matt Zenus, Global Vice President of Database Management, as we both discuss the past, present, and future of the industry's leading in-memory database. Whether you are a database enthusiast, considering a database migration, or looking to build innovative applications, this episode is for you. So let's jump right in. Hi, Matt. Thanks for sitting down with me today as we think back to the early days of SAP HANA and even the future of what's to come with SAP HANA Cloud. And as I think back, I have a lot of great memories and have seen a lot of great successes. But as the leader of the HANA PM organization, I'm just curious, what was your most favorite moment throughout the years that you've seen how HANA Cloud and even HANA has impacted our customers?
Thanks, Daniel. That's a great question. And like you, I have lots of fond memories of HANA in the early days, going back, over a decade now. And what I would say is there's lots of great examples, but probably the most memorable for me was in the early days. Of course, people were really enamored with the HANA in-memory first architecture. And a lot of times this manifested itself around query acceleration, right? There was always these claims of, hey, I tried to run this query on another database, and now I run it on HANA, and I see it 10, 100, 1,000, or 10,000 times faster. So there was this speed and performance aspect that people were enamored with. I mean, there was all kinds of stories around those things. However, one thing in particular that caught my attention in the early days was that there was a utility company in Amsterdam who was one of the very first users of HANA, and they had used it to increase a particular query, and they saw this great performance boost. But they also had, when they saw this, they also had some other ideas about how they could leverage this technology, and namely around the area of geospatial. In particular, an area that was called pipeline integrity management. And the idea was that in Amsterdam, there are apparently tens of thousands of kilometers of pipes of various material and age and depth and things like this. And this particular utility company basically wanted to understand where these pipes of a certain material and age, how close they were to sensitive buildings like schools and hospitals and retirement homes and things like this. And this was like a gnarly kind of query to ask. The problem was what you needed to do it was you needed a geospatial engine. And we, at this time in the early days of HANA, we did not have that. And so what we needed to do is we needed to add a geospatial engine and data type to HANA. And we did that. We worked with closely with some of our partners like Esri. And it took about a year, but we developed a very high-performing, memory-based and columnar-based geospatial engine natively in HANA. And essentially what that means is that we have a spatial data type, and you're able to ask spatial questions of it. And we did a POC with the customer, and sure enough, with a query that used to take an hour to run, now just took seconds. And what that meant is that they were able to improve their planning cycles, do multiple iterations and things like that. Now, the reason this is special to me is that this became the start of our multi-model engine journey. This was one of the very first engines that we introduced, prior to Graph and JSON and DocStore, and now Vector and others in our multi-model engine. And to this day, multi-model engine capabilities in HANA and HANA Cloud is one of our key differentiators. So that's always been a great story that I reminisce about and I'd like to talk about.
So I think you made a great point about the multimedia aspects of HANA Cloud. And that's solved so many problems for customers over the years. But thinking about the market today, what do you see are some of the upcoming challenges?
So there's always been, especially in the last few years, and it's even more prevalent now, that customers are running into very common situations and challenges that they have to address. Namely, this is in the area of complexity. It's very clear to us that our customers are challenged with various things like heterogeneous environments and data fragmentation. And this manifests itself in various cloud infrastructure services, both on premise and also in the cloud, various software as a service. Basically, you have this data fragmentation all over the place, and they're challenged with getting a handle on all of this. Also, there's, of course, the data explosion and diversity problem. And this isn't new. This is even more prevalent today. There's new sources of data popping up all the time, new types of data that are coming up. And frankly, the issue is that it's no longer good enough for customers to ask a question like, well, what happened last quarter? What happened last week? Or what's happening right now? Customers need to be able to predict what's going to happen and then take automatic response to that using machine learning and then also AI, which has become very prevalent. The other thing too, a trend we see definitely in the database area is that the buying centers are moving into the line of business and in some cases away from the CIO center. And what this means is that there's a lot more requirements on understanding financial governance. So as things are starting to move into the cloud for sure, and some organizations are losing visibility to these costs and how they're manifesting themselves. And so financial governance has become really uber critical in terms of understanding where your costs are coming from. Even more specifically, especially for a line of business owner, not how much it just costs to have a cloud instance, but how much does it cost to run that query? And what goes along with that hand in hand is that there is just this very much focus on price performance, not price, not performance, but price performance. And this is really, really trying to optimize that. And some might say this is the most important metric in the cloud. And the final thing I'll just mention is, and I alluded to it, is AI, and more specifically, generative AI. There is a generative AI revolution going on that is supposed to solve a lot of problems, but it's also adding additional pressure to our customers in trying to understand how they will apply generative AI and how technologies that SAP is providing and that we're providing in HANA Cloud are going to help them address that.
Awesome. So really, you mentioned three things. You mentioned data in silos across the organization. You mentioned the ability to predict future outcomes. And then you even mentioned price performance. Customers have data everywhere, and they're trying to figure out how to make sense of it. How's HANA Cloud helping customers to bring that together?
So basically, there's four key pillars to our development strategy for HANA Cloud. The first is simplicity. We're focused on making it as simple as possible to adopt, to migrate, to administer, and develop on HANA Cloud. Because when we talk to our customers, some of the biggest in the world, they're running some of the most mission critical solutions, literally mission critical, that they have lots to do. They're very busy people. And so everything revolves around simplicity, making their job easier. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is kind of what I just alluded to, is around financial governance and price performance. Within the HANA Cloud Development Organization, we are maniacally focused on this topic, on price performance. Everything we do, almost all of the features that we've rolled out and that we're rolling out this year are around price performance. It's again about getting more bang for your buck. And here's the great news is that a lot of these are via technical innovations, but it's also around economies of scale. What I'd like to share with everyone is the idea is that the more customers that adopt HANA Cloud, both external customers and internal stakeholders, the cheaper it gets for us to run it. Our fulfillment costs go down, and we pass those savings along to our customers. The other is in deployment flexibility. it's not just about where you deploy, like in other words, what hyperscaler or region availability zone, but it's what you deploy and how you deploy it. Being able to accommodate hybrid deployments, for example, being able to have really sophisticated resiliency with HA, DR, larger instance sizes, things along those lines. In other words, giving flexibility to our customer. And the fourth pillar, automation and intelligence. We want to automate everything. And this goes back to simplicity. And when we talk about specifically Gen AI and HANA Cloud, I look at it as two sides of the same coin. HANA Cloud is both the platform to build generative AI solutions, but also we're applying generative AI to make the administration, the operations of HANA Cloud simpler, more efficient, and more effective.
Awesome. And you know what I walk away when I hear about those four pillars, what that means to me is HANA Cloud is a database service that actually is relevant to companies of any size. And so what you just described is it's a great fit, whether you're a small company, large company, whether your use case is small or big. It really sounds like HANA Cloud is a great fit for every business problem. I really appreciate you driving that home. So when we think about projects, both large and small, what would you say to a customer that's not quite sure that HANA Cloud is the right database to them? How would you coach them?
First, I want to make it abundantly clear. SAP HANA Cloud is SAP's de facto and strategic database service. Full stop. If you are a customer on HANA Cloud today, you are on the right track. This is the future-proof, modern platform that we are investing in, not only for our external customers, but also for our internal stakeholders. So this is the right path, and this is what we want customers to go on. The beauty of HANA Cloud being a cloud native service is that you can start as small as you want and grow into it. So you can start for free, like with our free trials and free tier deployments, along with content and mission content that goes along with it. You can deploy instances as small as 32 gigabytes up to petabyte scale deployments with our native data lakes. And also, HANA Cloud supports numerous use cases. I always find it interesting when people ask me, well, what do you use HANA Cloud for? Well, it's a SQL database. You can do it for anything, right? So anything from general purpose database scenarios, especially for our BTP customers that need a database, there's HANA Cloud ready and available for you. Data warehouses, data lakes, and more importantly, intelligent data applications. And so my guidance to everyone, if you're not on the HANA Cloud path, get started today.
So that's really exciting for customers who are either on the HANA Cloud journey or looking to start the HANA Cloud journey, that HANA Cloud is the right database for them. What's next for HANA Cloud? So if I was a customer and I was looking forward to say, what are all these new innovations that are coming out and how can I take advantage of them? Give us kind of some insight into what's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for the remainder of 2024 and looking into 2025, we really have an exciting, aggressive, and robust planned delivery schedule. And let me just share some of those things with you. So, for example, coming out later this year, we'll have larger instance sizes, up to 24 terabytes of memory, to be able to accommodate these larger HANA requirements, and also giving enough headroom for some of our existing HANA Cloud customers to grow into. Again, in the financial governance area, we've added a new cost monitoring feature as a part of our tooling, which provides a lot more granular level detail on where a customer's consumption of HANA Cloud is coming from. Again, getting back to the costs, and so they have ultimate visibility to it, but not just having a report of it, but also being able to predict in the future where the cost will come from and help them also optimize. And in the area of price performance optimizations, like I mentioned, that we're just really focused on, we've also are going to be introducing at the end of this year elastic compute nodes. Now, elastic compute nodes aren't necessarily new to us. They've been in the product for the last couple of years. And specifically, an SAP product called Integrated Business Planning, or IBP, has been actively using HANA Cloud as its underlying database as a service for the last couple of years, unbeknownst to many customers. So if you're a new IBP customer, when you adopt it, you may not know it, but underneath it is HANA Cloud. And right now, IBP is going through the process of migrating existing customers to HANA Cloud. And what ECN, or elastic compute nodes, is this ability to dynamically and elastically scale up for additional processing when required, and then spin down when you don't need it. The effective result of this means is that instead of having to plan for the peaks and always having to deploy a HANA Cloud footprint of memory to always expect the peaks, but only use it for a short amount of time, what you're able to do now is actually reduce that memory footprint to something lower, and then dynamically add additional compute nodes when needed to run that process, and then turn them off and scale them back down when you don't. And essentially what this has the effect of is lowering your TCO, improving your performance, and increasing scalability. Another great feature we're coming out with later this year is multi-tenancy, which is the concept of essentially having isolated database tenants within a singular instance, up to 1,000 of them. And these isolated tenants, what this means is you can have multiple applications that can connect to a singular instance and to these isolated tenants that are isolated for security, isolated for workload management, and also for the elasticity. And also coming later this year is SQL on files, which allows within HANA to be able to query object stores, which are usually much more cheaper to store this data. And we're able now to natively query these object stores and then combine those results in memory with other data. So a great TCO, price performance optimization. And in the AI space, as many people know, earlier this year, we announced a native vector engine, which again adds to our already robust multi-model engine capabilities. And essentially, the vector engine is the ability to store numerical embeddings. And you can use this to do similarity searches and semantic searches. And you can also do anomaly detection, even image analysis. And what we're able to do is with these embeddings is to look at how similar things are, how different they are. And this is very much used with large language model or generative AI use cases. So the interest in this, since we've released it, is off the chart with our customers, especially as they create generative AI solutions. And the most prominent use case we see is with RAG, or retrieval augmented generation. And the idea is that you use the vector engine to provide more accurate results to a large language model query, because what you're able to do is have very topic, very relevant information that may be relevant to your organization that's embedded and it's in the vector engine. So we see a lot of use cases with that and a lot of customer interest and success. Also coming later this year, we're introducing Knowledge Graph, again, to round out a multi-model engine. And the Knowledge Graph we see very much playing a role similar to Vector in a RAG type of use case as a complementary solution. It's different in that it provides a different level of specificity. It also has the ability to make the results more accurate. And so we're really looking forward to that. So the Knowledge Graph actually will be announcing later this year and will be generally available in Q1 of next year. And then also, and in terms of applying generative AI, of course, we want to apply Gen AI to the administration of HANA Cloud. So this includes an intelligent assistant like Joule being a part of HANA Cloud. Also using Gen AI for alert-based summary generation, text to SQL, and issue summary generation. So as you can see, we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline, and we're really excited in that. And I think it shows to our customers that HANA Cloud is our innovation platform.
Matt, thanks for going through that. And I'm just going to say, if I was a customer listening to all of those upcoming innovations, and maybe I was an on-prem HANA customer, maybe I had HANA on-prem, I would really be thinking, how do I get from where I am now to HANA Cloud? And for a lot of customers, that could be really easy. But for many as well, that could be very complicated. What advice or how should a customer begin thinking about getting from an on-premise version of HANA to HANA Cloud so they can take advantage of all that innovation?
Yeah, great question. This goes back to the simplicity pillar we talked about. We want to make it as simple as possible for our customers to modernize to HANA Cloud. So we have various assets that we've created to assist customers on that journey. But first of all, just to be sure, we're talking about HANA at the end of the day. So when you're working on-prem with HANA and we talk about moving to HANA Cloud, it's a much more natural transition than if you were to say, look at something else. And so keep that in mind, that modernization effort to HANA Cloud is really straightforward. But first of all, we've developed a lot of different tools. So for example, we have a free self-service migration tool as part of the HANA Cloud Central. Essentially what this tool does is that will inspect your HANA on-premise system and then look to make sure and assess it to make sure that there's no issues of moving any of those objects like calc views or things like that to HANA Cloud. And if there are, we'll flag it and also give you recommendations on how you can work around that. Also, this self-service migration tool will move the objects from HANA on-prem to HANA Cloud and also the data too. We also have, of course, our legendary SAP HANA Database Migration Factory, which has been around for decades. Basically, with the Migration Factory, we provide free assessments. So if you're just looking at what is the effort to move from HANA on-prem to HANA Cloud, our Migration Factory will do a free assessment for you. They'll even give you a project plan with what that effort is, and also, more importantly, what the value is that you're going to see with moving to HANA Cloud. We also, for those that want to do the migration on their own, we have a migration help desk. Essentially, you can, at 24 hours a day, there's an email that you can contact. And if you have any problems whatsoever, whether it's part of the database, the applications, the BI tool, the ETL tool, we can help you. But at the end of the day, keep in mind, the reason you should always ask, well, why should I move to HANA Cloud? And it's super easy. Number one is it's future proof, right? You're moving to a platform that has where all our innovation's going. It's modern. This is a modernization activity. And most importantly, we can show that there's a TCO benefit from moving from HANA on-premise to HANA Cloud.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. I also want to plug something else that our colleagues also just recently released. It's the HANA Cloud basic trial, and you can get to it on the sap.com/HANA website. And so what the basic trial is, it's a free 30-day hands-on tutorial, if you will, that gives you access to a HANA Cloud database and walks you through the multi-model engines, the machine learning libraries that you talked about, to really begin to understand how HANA Cloud is the database foundation, if you will, for intelligent data applications. So as we close today's podcast, I really want to plug not only that, great call out for the Migration Factory as well. And certainly for our listeners, check out the sap.com/HANA website, as well as reach out to your account team. They can get you connected to the right resources to come in and talk about architecture, demos, and help you understand how you can take HANA Cloud and apply it to your business problems and to create those innovative next generation intelligent data apps. Matt, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for speaking to our audience here on the Let's Talk Data podcast.
Thanks, Daniel. It was great being here. And I had a great discussion talking about something that I'm really passionate about and my favorite topic, HANA Cloud.
We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Check out the show notes for additional links to information. And please subscribe or follow to join us on the next episode of Let's Talk Data presented by SAP.